Hi. I have no idea how many of you are out there. Nothing's showing up yet. So I guess I'm going to talk a little bit about how this show came about. Oh, there's 7 of you. Okay. How this show came about. I had gotten my reconciliation from YouTube again, and it had dropped. Hi, Janet. So I really went looking to see, what was happening, whether people weren't just watching, but people were watching and stuff, but I don't know. Anyway, it had dropped, and they're recalculating the algorithm for how they're paying you for. Trust me, guys, I can't even pay a week's worth of groceries on the amount of money I pull in a month. But I just like to keep them honest. So when I went looking into the trying to figure out the algorithm, trying to look at who's watching, all that good stuff. Because also a member who's part of my membership, not a subscriber, but a member of my channel who participates with the Oracle Garden, said she was getting charged, but it wasn't. There's a way, if you have there's a section where you can send things just out to the public, or you can send specific things to the membership for things. And she hadn't been getting the invitations I was sending out. So I was looking for that too, and I stumbled across some messages that I have no idea why they put them in this different place, but they were comments you guys had made, and many of them were very, very kind. Some really lovely suggestions of things to do. Hi, Candy. Hi, Lalima. And I and I started looking at it, and I thought, well, here's some questions that I can answer, and I went looking, and some of these were 2 years old. I mean, they've been hiding in this funny little space. And because when I see them, I get a thing that says notifications. Click on the little bell, and it shows me, and you guys will get hearts from me for thanking you for commenting on the shows and stuff. Anyway, so the majority of today's readings are going to be from this list of people that had written to me, and it's got everything from what do I need to do for me, and it's from someone who I know, and she's comments to me otherwise, in the chat here, to will we ever take care of our unsheltered people in the streets, our homeless, like the Finland does? I mean, just really nutso things. There was one woman who was writing me, and I really feel badly about this. She started writing me about a year, 6 months ago, and saying she felt like her whole world was shifting and falling apart and everything. And I know for a fact that since then, one of her parents died, and she was very crushed by it. And I was really kind of pissed that I couldn't find all these questions. So anyway, so what I did is I went through and I picked out the ones that I didn't feel were like too old. Like, what can I do in the next 3 months? And it was from 2 years ago. Not going to do you a lot of good right now. But anyway, I highlighted them, and I'm going to put them up like regular questions. And if I have any time for questions later, if you please post them in uppercase, so when I go through comments, I can find them. But one of the things I found that I thought was absolutely charming, and it's from Carol Welsh, and it was only from 4 weeks ago, and it's from when we were doing New Year's things. And it said, I just wanted to share that this past year I accepted a light challenge to get a jar. I went and got a quart size and tied a pretty ribbon on it, and set the intention to record all the moments of joy and gratitude she had throughout the year. It was on a small pieces of paper that she kept by the jar that she could share. At the end of this year, on New Year's Eve, she and her hubby, as she puts it, I will take out each slip of paper and read it to remind us of the joys of our past year and so many moments of gratitude. she says she keeps a small notebook and a pen right by the jar so that she can get to it every day. And I can tell you that it's great to read all that's held us up to a higher vibration throughout the year. And they said they plan to do it again this year. And I just thought that was just such a cool idea. So I included it that way because there's not a way I can type out. And if you make, I can only put 200 characters in these banners, and then StreamYard doesn't like it. Although I have an appointment with the StreamYard person to find out better ways to use the format and how to work with it more broadly. So I'm hoping to get to that. But anyway, I really want to thank Carol. And if any of the rest of you have things and hints and ideas and stuff that we can do to help us focus on our gratitude and help us focus on our spiritual growth. I have a funny feeling this year's going to have a lot of really good things in it, but there's also going to be a lot of times we're going to really need to focus on our own gratitude and make that a real effort. Anyway, okay. So we're going to do two things. I'm going to use cards mostly today. I teach my first round of tarot class tonight. Tonight we do the session on numerology. There's still one space left in the class. If you would be interested in taking it, go to my website. You know where that is, www.crystaldirections.com, and go there, and on the upper right hand corner there's a big blue square that says shop. That's where you go. You hit there, and then you can find the things that I offer, including readings. So if you want to do that, you can do that. And if you said, well, God, I got to do this and that. If someone comes in before we start the second week's class, I'm going to offer a private class in numerology just to catch you up. After that, though, I really think for you to get the most out of the experience of studying the tarot, you kind of need to be in the class with the other people. So that's and I looked this morning and no one had bought the last one that was sitting out there. And speaking of last ones, I have one throat chakra egg left. And I'm not going to make any more until I can figure out a better way for me to deal with them. They work. They're absolutely marvelous. People who have them. Matter of fact, one person wrote me and said, whatever eggs you have, they had a heart and they wanted the throat chakra. And I got that to them over Christmas. And I actually thought that was the last throat chakra egg that I had. And then I was cleaning my office, which is also always a perilous thing for me to do. And I found one more egg all wrapped up that had been sent from the place. And I'm in the process of figuring out how much it's going to cost if I do them on a per egg basis with a company that can make them so that we can do them. You'd have to place an order and they would make the egg and then I would get it to you. So I think the eggs are valuable. I just, like I said, cleaning out my office is always a threatening task. So I'm going to go back to this. We're going to go to banners. And this is the first one. And it's Nancy Cast. What do I need to do for me? Just very plainly, just for herself, not for the rest of the people that are floating around. So we're going to take a quick look at some cards for her. And she's actually one of the people in this audience that I've personally met. She moved into Texas for a little while, and while she was here, I met her. She's a lovely lady. I think she lives in Tennessee now. So we're going to figure this out. We're going to get to work on this for you, Nancy. She's another Nancy. She's another person of my generation when it seemed like every other kid was named Nancy, but that wasn't really the truth. Anyway, what does Nancy need to do for herself? Okay. Here we go. Okay. Okay. You need to finish some things and you need to get ready for some big change for yourself. And this card is the 9 of Rods, and it shows that in the past, these are the past, this is right now, and this is the near future. And it's that in the past, you weren't really prepared to make all the decisions you were making. You weren't thinking them all the way through to the end. But now you really are ready to wrap things up and move on to a new phase in your life that's just for you. You're not ready to make that change right now. This transition means change, and it's reversed. And it means actually, if you made it right now, it probably wouldn't be the best time to do it for you because there's still some financial concerns. But swords, they can mean stress and strife and all that stuff. But swords also mean thought. And this is the 7 of Swords. And that means you need to spend a lot of time planning the next step and figuring the finances out so that you don't feel impinged upon. And I'm going to see about that one. Yeah, there's some younger person that you're working with in all this, and they need to get their act together because they're kind of reversed here. But there you are, and you just need to trust your own intuitions more, your own intuitive self more. And it just shows you're just not really quite ready to make the changes that you really want to make. And that's going to be the most important thing. So we're going to put change up here. I'm going to fold these cards up. And when is the change going to be in the next 6 months? No. That's a no, 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 no. And what it's telling me is I think it's going to be the changes are going to come to you in about October. I think in October, there's a big chunk of you that wants to move on, but this again is the money coming to and fro, and you need to decide what you want to focus on and what's most important to you. Let's see what we can do about breaking this. Okay. Yeah, you need to meet up with someone who can help guide you through this. And this is the card. This is the 8 of Cups, and I always call it the I'm out of here card. I'm done. And you need to take the things you've learned and move on. And if this is all very much centered on you, and you need to put yourself in a place where you're at the center of it and your ease and comfort is at the center of it. And I think you're going to have to just keep looking at all the possibilities through the summer. And I think in the fall, you're going to know where to go. So I hope that helps, dear. Here's another Nancy Rico. She wants to sell a home to help family members. And I apologize to her. She had posted several questions to me. They're all basically the same questions. So I kind of cut it down to one. Let's see. Sell your home to help some family members. And my guides are telling me you're going to find another way, but I'm going to put it out in the cards and see what we get. It's a little unconventional because you would be thinking at this point in their lives, that part of the family could be helping you more than they're asking you to do. Everything you do out of love and concern. And this is you, and you're the Queen of Wands. And I think you're going to find it. I don't think you need to sell your home. You may need to refinance your home, but you need to get their heads out of the clouds. You need to pull them down and say, we're not doing illusions and delusions anymore. We're going to get real. And you know how I say in tarot, one of the things I like about it is you can always change cards. You can always turn it. You can turn that around and make them understand that. But you would do it and you would refinance it and you wouldn't carry it with a heavy heart. It would actually put you at the end of sort of a journey you've been on. So I would say I wouldn't sell the house, but I would refinance. Okay, I don't know I'll have to ask England next time I talk with her. England's one of my gardeners, so I talk to her at least twice a month. She's the lady who lives in Finland. I don't know how the Finnish handle their homeless, but I can imagine being homeless in Finland would be a whole lot worse than a lot of places in the U.S. Being homeless anywhere is an awful, awful burden. But I don't know how they do it. But I'm going to see if we're even going to be able to find a way to be more. I take it it's more humane. I can't imagine her wanting it to be less humane. So, okay, let's see. It says yes, and we actually have the wherewithal to do it right now. We could do it, but there's still a bunch of people that are like, the reason you're homeless is it's your own fault, and that's very wrong, because a lot of things can happen to people, and especially with how our finances have gone. But I see that it's not fair, it's not just, but it would get them. For some people, going to prison is the best way to put a roof over their head, which is an awful, awful thought. It says, no, there's not any plans to do this right now, Pam. I will talk with England and see if she can if you can send me more information, Pam, about what you see in their process. Because I think we're going to have a much more humane government coming. It's going to take a bit, and there's going to be, as we all know, today's the New Hampshire primary. And we'll have to see. Here we got another. These are not the kinds of questions I usually handle, and they wander into my feed every once in a while. But we're going to look at tax cuts for the middle and working people. Is the election going to bring around a Congress that's willing to do that? It's government again, freeing people from the prison they're in. We don't have the government to do it right now. But let's see. And this card is the Six of Swords. That's in the traditional deck. That's the one that's the guy rowing the boat with the woman and the child in it. He's taking them from hard times to easier times. When it's reversed, it means we're still on the bridge of despair. Let's see. Will we be able to get out of this? I'm going to ask for 2025. I'm going to ask it on top of that. Can we do it by 2025? Nope. 2026. 2026 looks like that's when we'll start to see some real financial changes and see the tax cuts coming to the middle class and working people. It's just going to take a whole lot of time to get, after the giant tax cut we gave to the very, very wealthiest. It's going to take a while to get that out of their little fingers. Okay. Someone put they had a whole long giant paragraph, but it was, will MAGA go away? Will MAGA fade in the next 2 years? That's one I'm interested in. Sidelining MAGA. Will MAGA's influence go away in the next 2 years? In a mysterious way? Yes. Yes, they're going to wander away. It's going to happen because of a raising of our consciousness. It means each and every one of us needs to raise our consciousness to do the best we can. And it's people of means are even going to begin to understand that this sort of intellectual plague has to go away. A lot of institutions are going to change, and people are going to be happier in their homes. So that's going to help some, because I think a lot of those people are just miserable. You can't listen to them talk and go, oh my God. Okay, enough politics. Hi, Roses Simon. Hi there, Nancy. I would like a past life reading. Interested in how my past life is affecting me now. And now we're getting into comments that got put on my feed months ago. So I hope Rosa somewhere can get this. But I'll explain to you guys when I do the Spirit 7 what I'm seeing. So if you're a card reader, you can do this. I mean, it's not like an angel came down and told me how to do it. I just kind of figured it out. But okay, we're going to do past life reading for Rosa, and we're going to all learn from it. This is one of 3 things I do when I do a paid past life reading. This is called the Spirit 7. And these 3 cards are where your life is now. Let me see if I can get this. I moved my camera yesterday to do something, so I'm going to raise it up a little bit. Okay, there we go. Okay. And then this is the past life you had. Not a bad past life. Although you were imprisoned. Okay. And this is kind of where you are. This is the card that would change. It's that how far are you into integrating this life into your journey? And in the past life, what I saw was you had a whole lot of really good stuff going on around you. You had a very comfortable life, but it's sort of, you ended up leaving the country of your birth in the status of a refugee, because otherwise you would have been imprisoned. You would have had the 8 of Swords. And this being reversed means you did not get imprisoned. So what have you done in this life? In this life, when you were plotting, looking over your past life and trying to figure out how to make the most out of this life, you decided to create some comfortable settings for yourself. You decided to really tie yourself down to the conventions and to the rules and the stricture of the culture around you to be safe. And so that you wouldn't have to, you won't, and you don't want to flee it. You like where you are. So you've taken care of this fear from the past life of having to get up and run. But as a consequence, sometimes you don't always, this card is a truth teller. It's a Page of Swords. And you're just beginning to understand this about your spiritual self. And I think sometimes when you get close to looking at the things that happened to you before, you get afraid and you don't go look at it from the mature eyes of the woman that you are now. So what I'd say, that's how it's affecting you. But you have not built a bad life out of this. You just pick security over adventuresome and adventures. And if the adventure that this person had, having to make it, and I think you fled to the US. And I'm getting a lot of Irish potato famine stuff about it. But anyway, what you can do is, I'm going to put 3 cards on him. Yeah, it said if you'd be happier if you would not fear that what you say is going to cause you problems. A lot of people left the Ireland during the potato famine because they weren't allowed to speak the truth. That's how my grandmother came here. She came here in the early 1900s from the potato famine. You need to learn to not stay stuck in the same place. You're going to find that out through working out and working with other groups of people and helping them. And that's where you're going to find your happiness and the people you agree with. So if you're feeling right now, Rosa, like I'd like to go extend myself and I'd like to go help, this is a great year. It's going to be a lot of organizations looking for people to work with them to help get their point of view across. So this might be a good time for you to break out and learn that when you speak up for yourself, it's not going to cost you your life. Do I see David Hogg going into government? Yeah, absolutely. I always have, but we're going to ask the cards. For those of you who don't know David Hogg, you know the name. Can't remember where he's one of the kids that came out of the Parkland shooting and ended up going to Harvard and doing a lot of other stuff. He organized that huge march in Washington. It's a very interesting young man. He has a great future, but let's see if it's going to be in government, if he's going to work with government, but from the outside. He's going to do both. He's going to go into government so that he can affect the change. There's a part of him though that he's reached that point in his life. He's in his mid-20s. There's a part of him that's, and I don't mean this to sound really shallow, but he doesn't want to spend his whole life in sackcloth and ashes and worrying and trying to undo what happened at Parkland. He hasn't found his power. He hasn't found the place to set yet to do this. This is the moon, and this means he knows he has a fate ahead of him. He's trying to figure it out. It's hard to see in the moonlight. This is the Seven of Swords. It can mean people have lied to you, and he doesn't want to be lied to anymore. He wants to make changes. He's just figuring out how to do what base is the best place for him to work in. 4 is the number of bases. It's the number where you build your base. And this is wanting to hold. He lost a lot. I mean, he lost his youth, kids. I mean, and he wants to branch out. So let's see if this is it going to be government or outside? Government. I think it's going to be in government. And he wants to do it when he doesn't have any illusions about it. And he wants to be the happy messenger, and he just hasn't found a way to do that yet. I hope that makes sense to you. It makes sense to me in my head. But the next one's about doom and gloom. Earth Mama. One of the YouTube astrologers predicted that in 2024, some states would secede from the Union. Can you see if this is true? I know Texas, where I am sitting in Texas, by the way, has been threatened that for decades. Actually, the last big states that really threatened it was when Sarah Palin was governor. Her husband was a big wig in the secessionist movement for the state of Alaska. And there was a guy who was a secessionist who wants to split California into 5 states. I don't know where Sarah Palin's husband is now. I know she divorced the dude, but the guy who was the one running that organization in California, he now lives in an apartment in Moscow. So that will tell you where splitting our union comes from. I'm going to see what that readers. I've heard several readers say that, and I know the politics of what it would take to pull out of the union, and I know there are people in Texas working to do that. But there were, until last night when the Supreme Court stepped in, people who were killing women and children in the Rio Grande River, and they're not doing that now. So we'll see. We're going to split up. No. There's people who want to do it, and they want to think about it, and they think it would make them stronger. But this is no. This is no. Yes. So there's 4 no's to 2 yeses, and it's just not a good idea. And you've got the 2 most archetypal parts of ourselves that show up in the deck. You've got the sun, which is our ego, and you've got the moon, which is our shadow side, and both of them are reversed. This is not a good idea for anyone. And by the way, I live in Texas, and I know how much money we get from the federal government. We can't afford to break off from the federal government. They pay too much of how we support ourselves. Okay, plain old 3-month reading. Woo! Okay. And I think this was, she wrote this in the last 6 months. So we'll see. I'm going to do a 3-month reading for you from right now. Okay. I'm hoping you can see all the cards. Okay. Well, you definitely have some money coming in. And this is, make up your mind, girl. That's 2 of swords. That's your heart and your mind are fighting. And then this, and then this. Oh, yeah, you're doing fine. you found a way to balance things, and money's coming from, and you've got 2 nights, which means, and they're 2 good nights. You got the Knight of Cups, which has to do with emotions, and you've let go of a lot of your obsessive behaviors, or you got rid of a person around you that had a lot of obsessive behaviors, because you're feeling much freer to move and move around. Your heart's a little weird because it doesn't know how to deal with things going so well for you, but it's because you finally made your mind up, and you've got to get over that feeling that judgment's going to swing in and chop your head off any day, because what I show is you have all the money you need and all the strength you need. So I would read this, that you did the right thing. And the only thing you need to do is to let go of some of that insecurity that was bred into you from the people from long ago. Whenever you get those ghostly voices in your head telling you it can't always stay like this, try and hear whose voice it is, and then politely ask them to leave. I think my favorite way to talk about that is when I was young, my mother decided she was going to have Shirley Temple instead of the little girl with straight hair. And so she would send me to Merle, who was a beautician, a hair lady. And I mean, Merle had those old, really scary machines that she could put like you see in the 1930s movies where it looks like a hood and little rollers come down and they wind your hair up in it. Well, she used to do that, but the ones I remember later was it just smelled terrible, and it was just awful stuff for your hair, and it really burnt and it stung, and I hated it. And my mom was going to have curly hair, and my hair would stay curly for about 2 weeks, and then it would go back to being straight. And so I remember I'd go to Merle and I told her, I don't like this stuff. It stinks. It hurts. And she said, you have to suffer to be beautiful. And I was like, that's one of those things that like makes me crazy when I hear people, things like, and when every once in a while I'll hear that in my head, you're going to have to suffer to get to that. And I'm going, no, I don't. And Merle can leave my head anytime she chooses. And you're just growing out of all those sorts of preconceived notions. Good for you, Vernie. Okay, we're going to hide that one. Told you it was a lot of interesting stuff back here. Will my healing business be successful? And this wasn't that long ago, so Francis, I think it already is. But we'll see. So off to a good start. You're getting what you want. It's proven to be more painful than you thought. The money at times has been a little bit slow, but you've quit obsessing about it since you wrote me that question. This looks like it's all going really well. You've made the right choice. When you put your intentions in the right frame of mind, it's okay, but it's been harder than you thought it would be, which is what everybody I think finds when they start a business. Is even if it's something they truly love to do, it's like, oh my God, I have to do that again today. So you're going to be fine. And the money will be there. I think this winter is going to be a little harder, a little slower, but you're just don't obsess about it. Just let it go and it'll all be there. Okay. Okay. And here's a nice compliment. She loves the Oracle Garden. Could you please see if my husband's negative energy will leave him in 2023? I told you these were all questions because he dwells in the past. Let's see if Cheryl's seen some improvement in her husband. And will he quit dwelling in the past? Okay. So her husband's negative energy left him. It says yes. He's not complete yet. And he still tends to dwell on things, but it even got burdensome for him to live with it. So this shows, yeah, he's moving on. He's quit looking back at what he should have, could have, would have done better when he was younger. And but back when you asked this question, he was really working on it and spreading his negativity around because he could, and because it gave him a way to vent it. And he's not done yet, so he's not perfect by any means. But he's quit dwelling so much in the past, and I don't know why. I can't, not really seeing anything why, but I hope that's true, because that's a real pain to live with somebody who's being a bummer all the time. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna pull from a past life deck to help you. I have to go over to my bookshelf to get them because I only have so much room on my desk, and I've got so much stuff stacked up here. Get ready for my class. So, okay, we're going to use the past life cards. We're going to pull 3, see what we can see. Well, Bohemian Lady. What was she in a past life? These are the past life cards that were done by Brian Weiss and Doreen Virtue. Let's see. Soldier. Oh, this is fascinating. What I see in this is wars and battles, and you went through a period of time when you were a soldier, and then you sought forgiveness in your life because the brutality of war just was not good for your soul. So you became a medicine person. You came out and became a healer. So, and looking at these cards, what I first saw was like the Middle Ages. Like you went off to the Crusades and came back and became a minister, ministering medicine and being like a monk and a healer. And but the story, the way these cards are illustrated, it would have been something that happened in the Civil War. And when you went to seek forgiveness for the battles you'd participated in, you ended up working with people in the Western culture, in the West, like the Native Americans, indigenous people, the people who owned the land before people came in boats and took it away. Okay. Okay. I found a tree on my hill named Howard. I worked on a fractured ley line and asked a dragon I believe came to me for help. Is this ley line okay? Okay. We're going to look at Alpha. That's how you find them. They just are out there. They're getting wider. The last couple years, there are people that go out and they actually walk the ley lines and they measure how wide they are. And the people I talk to who do this kind of stuff, and some have been following these ley lines for 20 years in England, and they said all the ley lines are growing wider and wider, and they're setting straight for longer periods of time at the solstices and the equinox. So let's see if your ley line's fixed. Yeah. It's not quite fixed, but if you keep going out there and talking to it, it will happen. Go talk to Howard. A lot of times they'll fix, and then the Earth will shift. And the Earth's doing a lot of shifting right now. But you have the skills to do this. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, you just have to have the confidence that what you're saying and doing is right, and that you're bringing it together. It's not quite finished healing yet. So, and I don't know when you did that because, like I said, some of these things are old. And that's the last one. So that one, I think I think it thinks we're older than 2 years. I didn't look at it. So that was back when I was talking about ley lines. So let's go see what's happening in the comments. Thank you, Francis, for your donation. I need to put the camera on me. And we'll kind of go down here. Hi, Cold Toes. She said her ley lines are about 6 feet wide. Yeah, they're growing like crazy. So you can check it that way. And every time, sometimes the Johan that was in South Africa that fixed ley lines all over the world, he had to go back a couple of different times and fix ley lines and fix them again. Okay, I'm looking for questions, people. Oh, Angla's in the chat, but she's only on her mobile, so she's not going to be able to chat to us today. Hi, Terry from Holding Space. Yeah, it's raining in Texas today. It's going to rain all day today and all day tomorrow. And yeah, there's a ton of. I have a question. Someone who asked. Okay, means. Oh, okay. This one's. She's been praying to her angels and getting wonderful results. Yes, put yourself in a positive frame of mind. You're going to be able to achieve so much more when you do that. Okay. Okay, mark you. Okay. Cindy signed up for the class. Yay! Yes, I know. I remember seeing your thing come through. We've had an inch of rain. I can believe it because it's been bad. Okay. Okay, I've got. Oh, okay. The lady who asked about her husband, she said he did lose a lot of his youth. And that's hard because a lot of the anger and stuff we work out as teenagers, if we never get to be teenagers, they tend to show up in us when we're adults. I had my second husband was a child of war. He grew up in Britain in World War II. And it took him a long time as an adult when he realized that was going on with him to get past it. They can, though. Yeah. Cold Toes. Beauty must suffer. I told her, I'm okay and I'm not being beautiful. Good for you. That's better than what was Alina Habba said. She'd rather be pretty than smart. Okay. Yeah, there's another person who remembers us Tony Home Permanents. Bleh. We had the original afros in the 50s, didn't we? I'm just looking, guys. I just have to. Good for you. Francis, thank you very, very much. I appreciate that. And Alpha says that her ley line is outlined by vines. Mine showed up after a snap freeze, and all of a sudden there was this yellow brick road that went right through Hogarth, my tree. And, okay, mark you. Okay, I've got about 5 of them marked. And Angela heard the question of homelessness. I don't know. We obviously don't have the time for her to go into all of that with us, but I'll find out from her and I'll report back. So, Celtic Seer, I think you missed a key. I think that's not 2920. That's, you got it. Okay. Thank you. All right. So now we're going to go back and I'm going to catch the starred questions. Okay. Candy Mullen, how do you ask a question you don't even know what you need to know? Well, I just so happen to have a handy dandy little fat book called Ritual, and it's got days and calendars and all kinds of things, but it actually has all kinds of tarot and cheat sheets. But this page, if you can see it, those are all questions you can ask cards for 3-card readings. And anything you can split into 3 dimensions, like body, mind, spirit, past, present, future, stop, start, continue, energy of the day, what you should focus on today, what you should avoid, day as a whole, be mindful what to embrace, material things that are affecting you, emotional things that are affecting you, spiritual, anything you can break up into a threesome. And you pull those 3 cards and you just read them that way and just look at it if you have a deck of cards. How can I love myself better today? What habits do I need to change? What do I need to focus on right now? Where am I the strongest? How do I really see myself? And that can be kind of one of those interesting questions, because the cards may point out to you something you avoid intellectually in your own mind. But how can I start moving toward discovering my purposes? What fears are currently keeping me from progressing in my life? Anyway, they suggest, if you can't think of anything else to do on a day to write about, you go back to this page and you look at this. And this has just about every self-exploratory question you can imagine for yourself. So I think that's how you do it. Okay. Okay. If you're 8, 12, there's an 8 and 3, 11, 11, and 8 is 19. Okay, on your next birthday. Is that right? 19, 10. Right now you're in a 9-year Stella, and so you're probably clearing a lot of stuff out. On your last birthday, you take the 8 and you make, that's 8, and then you put together the 12. That's the 3. 8 and 3 is 11. And then you add in the year number, and last year was 2023. If you put all the single digits, if you add them together, they make 7. So you would have had 11 and 7. 11 plus 7 is 18. And so you are currently living in a 9-year. And a 9-year, if you believe in the cycles of numerology, is you're wrapping stuff up. This is a year when you're going to shed things, get rid of stuff. I'm going to warn you, anything you don't get rid of in this year that you really need to get rid of, it's going to go into the next 9-year cycle with you. 9 years can kind of be a lot of fun. And next year on 8/12/2024, you'll go roll back into a 1 year. All the years are 1 through 9. And you must feel like you're changing like crazy, because I know 9 years just feel that way to people. Okay. All right. We're going to look at a past life for Francis. Put you. And I've got one more question after that. And I think I'll go look, make sure. And okay. And we'll read Vernie's. Vernie, you have a question right after that. I'll be reading you about your interview. And we're going to see if Oregon's in your future. Okay. Top 3. Oh. Well. Okay. This says that in a past life, you were a priestess or a high priestess, a high priest or priestess in Atlantis. A lot of Atlanteans around right now. And you need to trust and have faith in your intuitions because they're extremely strong. And that if you just before you go to sleep at night, call on your mind to pull in that person who was back in Atlantis. And we're doing a lot of stuff right now that would seem to me to be very much, do we play with the gods like happened in Atlantis and we all go down? I was in Atlantis, and you can't imagine what I did. I programmed crystals to heal people. Can't imagine why that would have been that life. But this is what I was told by a person doing Akashic records. And when we talked about it, it all made sense, because that's why so much of what I understood about crystals. So when you start touching what you used to work with in Atlantis, it's going to strike a fire in you. And that's going to help you go forward in 2024. All those gates are opening for us to learn from. So I would tell you to go there, Francis, and, try it before you go to sleep at night. And it won't happen immediately, guys. These things you just don't lay down one day and it happens. But this Vernie's back from her Oregon interview, and she wants to know, is Oregon in Vernie's future? I'm hearing a really positive yes, but we'll see. Yep, big change. You're meeting the right people there. It's going to make you a much stronger person. And the money's there. This card means complete and absolute change. You're getting out of a stormy sea. This five of coins reversed, it means for the longest time you couldn't meet the people you really needed to meet to be able to work with, and you're going to find them here. It's going to strengthen you. You're going to feel you're playing to your strengths. It's going to work out for you. And you got the Knight of Pentacles, which is money. So good for you, Vernie. And let me hide. Live. Okay. No, I didn't get it. Rewrite it to me this afternoon. It may just have gotten lost. I was kind of dissed a little bit in the middle of right after Christmas and into the new year. So it's not you, it's me. But if you will get a hold of me, Prince Charming's mom. Oh, and I love Gino. She says I'm a good and very well prepared teacher. It's every Tuesday for 6 weeks. Jean's doing all my PR. And Celtic Seers in a personal year 1. Good. Yep, this will be your personal 1 year when you get to that date. Or you may do it. There's 2 ways to calculate your personal year, and I think I've talked about this before. You can either decide everything changes on January 1st, which numerologists tend to think is true, or astrologers tend to think it happens on your birthday. And Vernie's threatening me with pears now. Okay. I think I'm going to close this down because I got a busy day of getting my life organized to teach tonight. And we're at 54 minutes. So for those of you who showed up a little bit late, I'm going to talk about something else I talked about at the beginning when there are only about 10 of you in the room. This is a suggestion from Carol Welsh. And it says, I just wanted to share the past year I accepted a light challenge to get a jar. I went for the quart-sized jar. Tie a pretty ribbon around it and set it with the intention of recording all the moments of joy and gratitude I had throughout the year. A little piece of paper carries the sharing into the jar. At the end of the year on New Year's Eve, she and her hubby took out each slip of paper and read aloud to remind them of all the joys and the gratitude they should have for last year. And she also says she suggests keeping a small notebook by the jar, so you're not running around looking for paper. That would be my fate, running around looking for paper. And I can tell you that it's been a great tool to help hold higher vibration throughout the year. And like I said, this year we're going to need those higher vibrations. So if I would suggest that we try that, and thank you for sharing that with me and the whole group. And I am going to say goodbye to everyone. Thank you for coming. And it takes a while for StreamYard to go away, but we're going away. It says we are.